One Dozen Who Care Incorporated is a 501c3 founded by African American women in the far western region of North Carolina. The vision of One Dozen Who Care is a unified community that honors and respects racial and cultural diversity. The mission of One Dozen Who Care is to empower, educate, and encourage economic development for women, youth, and elders in far western North Carolina in order to bridge cultures and create community bonds. One such culture we hope to bridge is that of generational cultures. We want to get youth and elders together so they can share knowledge and skills and assets with each other. What you are about to see is one such initiative we have launched in order to get youth and elders talking to each other.
Congratulations for being the Emma Cline Award winner.
Okay.
You are like a jewel to our community. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What is your name and where are you from?
Okay, my name is Barbara Austin, and I was born and raised in Texas. And I moved to Silver in 1965. And I am married to Kelvin Austin, have 2 children, Declan and Melinda, 2 grandchildren, Latoria and Kelsey.
If you don't mind sharing, will you tell us your age?
I'm 72.
You're even older than my grandma. She's 71.
I'll be 73 this year.
What was it like moving to Jackson County in 1965?
It was a very different. It was like a culture shock. Because where I grew up and was raised in Texas, the schools that I went to was all black and with a very few Mexicans. And where we lived on the west side of town. At the west side of town, it was all black families at that time.
That was great. So awesome.
Then when I moved here, it was the first year of integration. And I had came a year before to visit. And the all black school that they did have at that time, from the first grade through 12th grade was all in one building, and it was like from 2 to 3 grades in one class. And everybody, knew each other and and played with each other. And so that was something that I wasn't used to at that time either. Everybody being, all the grades playing together and doing everything, together. And then the building that they went to school in was the building right now. Is the Board of Education. That's how small it was. And that graduation, I believe the year I came, it was just one person that graduated.
What type of things did you do?
Well, for the female, after they integrated and went to Civil Webster, now in Smoky Mountain High, everything was different, and then everybody had to adjust. And the way that I felt, the black females, we were just there. The black guys, they were in sports, and they helped to get Civil Webster on the map. They were really good in sports. So it wasn't that much the females could do. And we didn't do anything. Only thing my thing was, I was just wanting to graduate and get out of there. And then I was the first black female to graduate from that school.
You're not gonna even do cheer or at least ballet?
No, we didn't. you had to try out for everything. And that was just something that the student body would elect in the teachers. And so, that first year was really hard. But after years, passed, the younger generation, they started to, getting more involved in the schools, and it was more of them, because when I went, it was just 4 blacks that was juniors. And it was two seniors. I can't remember the rest of them, but it was very little. It was just I bet but no more than about 8 blacks that went to the whole high school. Because for one, when they integrated from the Jackson High, or Jackson School, a lot of the blacks quit that were going. And they didn't even have the credits that they should have in the grades that they were in. So it was very hard.
Can you tell us about your career?
Okay. After high school, I worked at the telephone office as a long distance operator and information operator. And I was the first female black working there until I got married. And at that time, my husband was in the service and we traveled. And then I worked I worked while we were going at different places. And we lived in, like, the state of Washington. We lived there. I worked at a bank, and most of the places I didn't work because my kids was little. They were young. And I went to, when we came back here, I worked at Wachovia for a while. Then I went to school at SEC and got a degree in computer technology, which was something I had planned to do, but I was waiting till my kids got older. And so I got that done, and then I was hired at Drake Software. I worked there until I retired. And after retirement, I done different volunteer work, and then I worked with at the WCU book rental store and voters registration for Jackson County. And now I'm helping with the with the kids with the Liberty Enrichment Program.
Why do you think community service is important?
Because to keep you in contact with with other people and know what's going on in the community, and in that way, if anything is needed, you can be there to help. And my help, well, I do off and on things, but most of my help is through the church. I do several different things that's related to to the church. And in the church, my duties there, I'm the clerk secretary. I sing in the choir. Let's see, what is it? I worked in the kitchen. I'm a missionary. I help with the programs, and I'm on the fundraiser committee. And then, like I said, I work with the enrichment program.
What are you most proud of, my lady?
Oh, I'm proud for my family, for one, and their accomplishment, and of myself by going back to school at the age, I believe it was about 51. And at that time, I was older than the teachers. Some of my teachers went to school with my children. But I struggled through that and got sort of comfortable, with going to school there, and I finished there at SEC.
What advice do you have for young people like us?
For one, I would like for y'all young people today to stay focused and stay focused in the Lord, because he will be your help. And set a goal for your life and get the best education that you can, because that is something that when you get that education, nobody can take it away from you. And then with us as being black people, we have to work harder to get what we want. And when you work hard to get what you want, you appreciate it more.
Thank you for letting us have this time to talk with you.
You're quite welcome.
Hi, I'm Giovanna Tollett, and I'm in the 3rd grade. And one thing that I learned about Miss Barbara is that you should stay focused on the Lord and stay focused, and whenever you work hard to get something, you appreciate it more.
I'm Elizabeth. I'm in the 3rd grade, and I learned from Miss Barbara. She didn't do any ballet or soccer, but she did kind of good on the interview. I also learned she was a pioneer. She was the first black woman that graduated from high school.
She brings food, she prays with us, and she teaches us lessons.
She helps. I love Miss Barbara. She helps me with my homework and helps me read for my reading log.
Congratulations for winning the Cline Community Service Award.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? What is your name and where are you from?
Yes, my name is Wanda Jean Howell Moore, and I was born here in Silva, North Carolina. I started school here in Silva, and then I moved to Connecticut in 2nd grade. Bridgeport, Connecticut. It's on the coast. It's a city, but it's not well, it is compared to Silva. It's a big city, but not compared to New York. It's a little city. And I stayed up there until, oh boy, when did I come back here? I think my daughter, April, was going into kindergarten when I came back here. And so I was up there 20 years anyway, before moving back to Silva.
Wow. If you don't mind telling us, what is your age?
I am 68 years old.
I don't believe that.
I'm 68.
Can you tell us what it was like growing up in Jackson County and Bridgeport, Connecticut?
Yes, I can. It was really nice. I had, for that age and time period, I had the best of both worlds. In Connecticut, now I'll start in North Carolina is where I started school, 1st grade. The school, the big building, the Board of Education building up here on the hill, that was the all-black school. And I did 1st grade there before moving to Connecticut, and I did the rest of my schooling in Connecticut. And the difference was, when I went to Connecticut, it was like a melting pot, because there was white children, black children, Hispanic, Jews, all nationalities were there in one school. So that was something different for me. However, children are children, no matter where they are.
Tell us about your career.
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit if you don't mind. I started out as a bookkeeper. In high school, I majored in business education. So I got bookkeeping there. Bookkeeping is keeping up with financial issues of people or companies.
So you mean by financial issues, you mean money issues?
Yes, taking care of their money. One of my first jobs was to do payroll, where I had to make out, collect the information of how many hours people worked, and then pay them according to what their pay rate was. And then I left there and went to a bank where I paid off stock dividends. People that buy stocks, which is a portion of a company or an agency or I can't think of the other word I want to use. But anyway, they buy into a company, most of it is, and they get stocks. And those stocks collect interest over time. And that's what I had to do, is pay the interest on the stocks that
So
they
is
had.
the interest kind of like the money?
Yes, it is. It's a little extra money they get for having owned those stocks.
Okay.
And I did the letters from L to Z at the bank. When I left there, I worked, where did I go after that? I left the bank and I went into education.
So,
And then I started working as a teacher assistant in Connecticut. And then I worked as a teacher assistant when I moved to North Carolina.
well, I like the idea of being a teacher, but the hard thing is when the kids aren't paying attention to anything you say, you get really annoyed.
Well, as you grow up, you will find out that when people don't listen to you, it does make you a little upset. But then you learn how to handle that upsetness.
The way I try to be a teacher, I use my toys and they do whatever I say, basically.
Yeah, but toys can't talk back.
I was supposed to be a teacher one time because our teacher had to walk out the classroom, and I ended up having to yell, and the whole room was silent. Why do you think community service is important?
It is nice to help to people in your community and to have a good community name, just like your own name. If you want people to think good things about you, you don't want them to hear your name and then think of all the bad things you've done. And doing community service or taking care of your community, you know, even if you just help the elderly, or it could be doing the leaves around people's house or even your own house.
Well, like for a good job name, would it kind of be like for the job for the elderlies, maybe the elderly helper?
Yes, you might be able to go and sweep the snow or leaves off their front porch or their steps or something, or their walkway, so no one gets hurt. That would be an excellent community service. Or it may even be going in and spending a little time with them, give them some water, maybe read one of your books to them. Elderly people like for children to come and read to them.
Well, as a community, my school is doing a community service. It's called Ropes for Heart. We are collecting donations for people with heart conditions.
Great.
And I think if I could get the sheet tomorrow, I'll participate. And I'll do it online so they can keep track.
That's very good.
My mom, back in Arkansas, she was a nurse, and she worked at this place called Hot Springs nursing center, and she would help the elderly. And then sometimes she would be sad because some of them would pass. But she did take care of them, and we went to her job, and she never took us there again.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of services do you do in the clinic?
Well, right now, I'm only helping the youth, pretty much. Unless somebody just tells me that somebody may need something, and if I have the time and able to get the resources they need, I will go and help them.
So, as you help the youth, I'm glad you help the youth because you can help people with the wisdom you've gained over the years, and that's why I think it'd be good for you to help the youth.
Thank you. You'd be surprised what you learn from the elderly, too. Even I have talked to different ones and some of the things they say, and I say, oh, I didn't know that. You can always learn from a lot of people, young and old.
What are you most proud of?
Oh, boy. I'm proud of a lot of things. I'm proud of myself, and that may sound a little conceited, but I am proud of me that I'm not real sick. I'm able to get around. I have a lovely family, and we kind of help each other out, and I try to help the community too. That makes me happy. Like even coming here and working with the youth. Oh, that I look forward to the days that we come to the church and do youth groups.
What kind of advice do you have for young people like us?
Always be hopeful. Always think good of yourself. I don't mean going around bragging about yourself, but always take pride in yourself. What you do, what you say, how you act in front of other people, things like that. It'll get you a long way in life. Secondly, be respectful of other people. Is be kind and caring to other people. That means a lot. Even if you don't really like them sometime or like their actions sometime, still be respectful and kind to them. And that's hard to do sometimes, especially if somebody has hurt you or said something to you that wasn't nice. You don't always have to get back at them. Sometimes it's best to just be quiet and walk away. Maybe deal with it at a later time.
That is all for today. Bye!
Oh, bye. Bye! I'm ready for some more.
I am Gabrielle Tollett. I am 10, but soon to be 11, and I am in the 5th grade.
Hi, my name is Crawford. I'm 9, soon to be 10, and in 4th grade, me and her are BFFs. We have the chance to interview Reverend Wanda more.
That you can have hope in your actions.
One thing she taught me is that even if you don't like somebody, you still have to be nice to them.
Oh, she taught us about some of the jobs that she did growing up and becoming a young adult.
She taught us by telling us her job, how her job kind of went through, how like the system of money works. And so now we know how we're getting paid and seeing the earnings. Congratulations.
Thank you, Elijah. I'm so happy to be the recipient and to get to talk to you today.
Can you tell me a little about yourself? What is your name and where are you from?
Well, my name is Mary Ricketson, and I'm from Murphy, North Carolina. Or at least I have lived here for nearly 50 years. That's a long time. I grew up in Mississippi mostly, but this is what I think of as my home.
If you don't mind sharing, what is your age?
I'm proud to share. I'm 73 years old.
You
Wow.
don't look it though.
Thank you. You can tell me that every day.
Is it like growing up in Mississippi?
Well, it was different in these mountains. I lived close to the Gulf of Mexico, so I was used to being able to go to the beach a lot. I grew up mostly on the Air Force Base, so that's a whole different way of life than having your own home.
I know what that sounds like.
Do you?
Like, sometimes we go to Goldsboro, like, we were, like, in, like, a restaurant. We saw some of the Air Force men. When we were, like, walking out of the building, a jet flew by, like, twice.
Uh-huh.
And we usually see those sounds.
Well, I used to go to air shows and watch my daddy be in a parade. And there were lots of orders to always obey. And I was used to having to obey things. But the thing is, in Mississippi, I know there was segregation and there was prejudice all over the place. But there was a lot there, and I lived there during the Civil Rights Movement. And so it was very sad.
Could you tell us about your career?
Well, I've been thinking about my career a lot because a few days ago, I remember this every year for a long time, but on February 9th, 1970, that was the first day of my first professional job after my college degree. And so this was in Texas, and I was a social worker. They really called me a social welfare worker 1. And I worked for the state, but to me, that's the first day of 52 years of my career in working in the helping professions. And I think I'm just very proud of the opportunity to be helping people in one way or another for that long a time.
I'm glad you wanted to help people for so long.
I think it's my calling. You know, we always have to listen to beyond ourselves and what we think we're called to do. And I knew I wasn't called to sing because everybody runs away if I start singing.
Well, that's not nice.
It wasn't nice. You know, there's lots of times people are not nice.
Why do you think community service is important?
Because I think we all need to help each other. And I think we need to use our talents in our education and our personality as best we can to help each other. I don't think we should do everything for somebody else. I think we should help each other lift up. So what my career has been is finding ways to help people believe in themselves better, find opportunities. I remember I had a field placement when I was finishing college, and I was supposed to go to thrift stores looking for a Cub Scout uniform for a 6-year-old boy, and I found it. And I was so proud. I didn't think you could find those things at thrift stores, but I did. And so all along the way, I learned that you can do unique things that make a difference to people, and it helps them grow on their own.
Thank you for telling us that. It makes me want to help people too.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that, Elijah.
What types of community service are you involved in?
Well, I can tell you that I've had a whole string of community services. Right now, I work as a therapist to help people who need mental health counseling. So they might be depressed, they might be panicky, they might have paranoid ideas, they might have all kinds of things. But we always look for the things that they're already strong in to help with the things they need to grow in.
So what you're saying is, if like someone was like really sad all the time, you help them find what they're good at, and then you can like help them grow with what they're bad at, so they're not sad anymore.
That's pretty much it, yeah. That's pretty much it. I have a few things I'm really proud of.
That was actually the next question. What were you most proud of?
May I tell you 3 things?
Mhm.
One is these are not in order, but one is I've had the privilege to help with Wanda Who Care the whole time they've been in existence. So sometimes I write newspaper articles, I go to the conferences, and sometimes I just talk to people. And when I was in my 20s, I moved from Texas to this part of North Carolina. And the job I got here was to work with an activity center that helped developmentally disabled adults. And it turned out I was on the staff, a very small staff, that turned it into a sheltered workshop. And when we introduced work to people who had never been able to do anything, some had never ever been to school, even though we had laws that meant they ought to go to school, they didn't. And there wasn't enough services in special ed when they were in school. So we learned about how to introduce work and teach using one little step at a time. And we invented ways. And it was one of the most exciting things I've ever done. And that shelter workshop still exists and people are employed. And that's exciting. And the third thing I want to tell you about that I'm really proud of is I was expected to get involved in the community when I first worked for the mental health center. And I was in my late 20s, turning 30s. That was my next job. And I was invited to go to a meeting that was going to discuss whether we had any domestic violence in this area. And I thought, well, I'm interested in that. I'll go be involved in that before they make me be involved in something I don't care about, because they would have. So I must have talked the most at that meeting because they made me the chair. And what happened over a little bit of time is we studied about domestic violence and sexual assault. And for 4 years, I led a committee over 3 counties that found out we really do have a problem. And we had to convince leadership like ministers and doctors and policemen, that there really is a problem. And we formed a very strong organization and started a good program. It's called REACH now, but anyway, these are things that it's good to live in a small community, that you could really be involved in things that matter to people, and you're not just a little number.
Basically things that are happening all over the world that you're helping stop, and like not just like one little problem of your life, but maybe a problem of like tons of people's lives.
You're right, Elijah. You're right. You're a good listener.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about your poetry?
I would love to. So, I like to write, and I like to write poetry, and I like to write about nature and the things I experience, and being close to nature makes me really understand people better somehow, because we're all connected, everything that's alive. So I write some every day, and I publish books, and I like to go around and read when we're not in the pandemic.
Do you ever go to the nature center to like get inspiration for some poems?
I do. And I live out in the country, so I take walks near my house every day, and there's a mule that's hurt his leg, and I go check on him.
Where?
Right at the barn, right by my house.
I feel sad for that mule.
Yeah,
Isn't a mule like a horse and a donkey?
that's what it is. You're pretty smart.
I've also heard of another crossbreed of a tiger and a lion called a liger.
Now that would be amazing. We might have to go to the zoo to see that.
What advice do you have for young people like me?
I would think get involved in anything going on in your community, your school, or your church that you feel like you can help in a way. And also share with other people your age and your family, and get enough education to do whatever you're talented for in this life.
Thank you for your time here.
You're so welcome. I've enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you.
So I learned that you should try to help others and also help your community at any time you can. And be nice to others. Share with them. That's what I learned.